And the news tonight, as COVID cases increase, we give you the very latest. SOS sounded for medical students. And alert level at the highest for many areas.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Ateda Lendua.
Bulavinaka, Fiji. Fiji has last night recorded another new high of COVID-19 cases with 121 new infections announced. As we wait for tonight's announcement, Kritika is live now and she has been keeping tabs on the events unfolding. Kritika, what's the latest you have for us?
Ateda, with the continuous spike in the number of COVID-19 positive cases, the Ministry of Health has assured that they have measures in place to mitigate the impact of a large number of daily totals. Last night's statement saw the emergence of 2 new clusters within the Lami-Nosori containment zone. Clusters in new locations pose a serious risk of severe and widespread transmission in the community. However, the Ministry of Health has contingency plans in place to cater for the patients who test positive for COVID-19. Now, the daily number of cases has hit the triple digits for the 3rd day in this week. Since April this year, Fiji has recorded a total of 1,373 cases. However, this number is expected to rise. The influx of cases pose a serious risk of an increase in severe cases. Fijians have been urged to ensure that they follow all the COVID-safe protocols so that Fijians and their loved ones can stay safe. Ateda.
Thank you, Kritika. Recruiting final year medical students during the outbreak is an option that the Ministry of Health is considering. Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong told FBC News that this is a possible decision considering the way the outbreak is escalating. Christina Uluwai reports.
Fiji Medical Association President Dr. Basharat Munshi has praised this approach and says recruiting these student doctors will help in cushioning the blow of the outbreak on the public health system.
2 medical schools, they get a lot of clinical exposure in hospitals, how to deal with public health issues such as this. So who better to recruit than people that are already training in the profession? So yes, that is a good idea.
The World Health Organization is concerned that the Delta variant can overwhelm public health system.
If it can spread more easily, then more people can get infected quickly. And if a system is overwhelmed, and many systems are overwhelmed already, it could overburden the health system and fill beds very quickly. And so we're worried about that.
Delta variant is a variant of concern and is currently causing the outbreak here in Fiji. However, the Health Ministry reassures that they have the capacity to mitigate the impacts of the Delta variant on our healthcare system. Christiana Uluwai, FBC News.
Residents of Gawia and those along the Nasevo Road in Lami are on high alert and heeding necessary precautionary measures as the virus is already on their doorsteps. This follows the Ministry of Health's confirmation last night that a few positive COVID-19 cases recorded from the area are under investigation to determine whether they have links to other cases. Josana Nunga reports most Fijians in the area are now living in fear, but this will not deter them from the quest to defeat this killer virus.
These Gawia COVID response teams are now doubling their surveillance, protecting the community by strictly following the safety protocols and not allowing visitors to enter the premises.
Yeah, it's been risky to us about the safety and the health of our community, mostly in here now, Nasevo Street and in Gawia.
With the emergence of cases in the Lami areas, hundreds of Fijians today turned up at a vaccination site in the Lenavesi to receive their jab with the risk of contracting COVID-19.
Just tell the partner, please come, take the jab. Don't listen to all those false rumors. This is your life. Take it.
Despite the proximity from the red zone areas, residents of Wailikutu outside Lami are not letting their guard down as they are also exposed to coronavirus.
Onus is on the family, as been advised by the government of the day. You only move when you need to get food or you need to go to the hospital or get medicine. I think it all depends on the family.
FBC News also visited the Wainandoi border, and it was visible that police on duty were more stringent with people wanting to move from the Nosori Lami containment zone to another. No individual was allowed through unless absolutely necessary, and people are reminded to do their business here at the border and go back to their respective places. Jose Nanunga, FBC News.
Townhouse Hotel on Foster Street in central Suva, where CWM Hospital and IMT staff are being accommodated, is a new cluster. As of last night, it had 19 cases, which the Health Ministry says it's likely linked to CWM Hospital or IMT clusters. Most of the health workers are being accommodated in the hotel, and it is now cordoned off. The CWM and IMT clusters originated a fortnight ago. In our COVID-19 update, Fiji has last night recorded another new high of COVID-19 cases with 121 new infections announced. The majority of new infections are in the Central Division. There were 78 new cases recorded between the Lami to Nosori containment zone. There are currently 15 clusters in this zone. Korvo, with yet another confirmed case, has one cluster, while Nandi, with two clusters in Nawachikuma and Tremline in Nawaka, has 6 new cases. Fiji has had 1,373 cases since March 2020. There are currently 1,043 active cases in isolation, with 388 recoveries in total. The COVID death toll stands at 5. Up ahead, looking out for fellow Fijians. And time to crush some sugar in Labasa. Welcome back. The World Health Organization stated earlier this morning that the COVID-19 virus is not trying to kill us as it doesn't have a brain. Executive Director for the WHO's Health Emergencies Program, Dr. Mike Ryan, says that people have the ability to stop the virus by halting transmission. Transmission gives the virus the opportunity to mutate, recombine, and decode to a much fitter version of itself or a new virus altogether. Dr. Ryan added that getting lesser people infected is a priority.
The best way for us to stop that is to stop transmission in general, and that's why we keep saying we've got to suppress transmission of the virus. The fewer people that are infected, the less chance the virus has of mutating or recombining, and secondly, the more we protect individuals with vaccine, the less opportunity we give for people to be infected.
Residents of the Nakasi Hut in Nasinu have one goal, and that is to not allow anyone to go hungry. Community leader Anareta Tuiloma says the second wave of the coronavirus has left them concerned for their fellow countrymen. Apinisa Wangai-Randova reports most of these vulnerable Fijians have been left with or jobless. However, sharing has kept them going.
The hut communities are homes to many single moms and senior citizens and members of our disabled community. Apart from social welfare assistance, they are relying on each other during these current difficult times.
I have seen a lot of changes. People here are sharing every little thing they have. When someone receives food, they will look out for other families in the hut. We try as much as we can to make sure no one goes to bed hungry.
Tuloma says the pandemic has taught them the importance of communal living.
This crisis has somewhat brought us more closely together. We have people from different backgrounds in here, but we are more united more than ever.
63-year-old Nathaniel Imbara Vilala utilizes the small space around his compound to plant vegetables, which he shares with others.
I've never ran low on food. What I plant is shared with others, and we are grateful for the much support that is coming from outside.
There are over 40 families in the Nakasi Hut. To protect themselves from COVID-19, stringent measures have been put in place, including a no-visitor notice. Apinisa Wangai-Randova, FBC News.
Life has changed for Lomainasau villagers following the confirmation of some COVID-19 cases within the district of Tokotoka in Tailevu. Situated right next to Nambitu and Wanondina villages, which recorded cases early this week, Lomainasau's new normal is currently being put in place to keep them safe from the virus. Saneni Mboila reports.
The Lomainasau village supermarket will no longer allow visitors, including Nambitu and Vanuandina villages, to shop from them.
This is our village supermarket, and a lot of villages do their shopping here. That is why we are not allowing people from the two villages to come and shop here at the supermarket.
Business from the village has had to be halted for the safety of the villagers.
COVID-19 has greatly affected us. We have careers, but now our business is currently on hold just to keep us safe from the virus.
Turani Kororatu Sekobe Ngerengere Tambua says villages of Nambitu and Vanuandina are not allowed to enter the village as part of their COVID-19 response procedures.
Villagers from the two villages are not allowed in the village until further notice. COVID-19 teams continue to monitor people moving in and out of the village. The use of thermal gun, sanitizers and masks. This is to enable villagers to be safe from the virus.
The Health Ministry recorded one case each in Nambitu and Vanuandina village in Tokotoka Tailevu early this week. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
Cane crushing at the Lambasa sugar mill has commenced, and sugar stakeholders have been urged to work together and support the industry, the backbone of the economy and the Northern Division. Eleanor Trangevu has more.
Cane crushing at the Lambasa sugar mill has started several weeks before it was initially scheduled to do so.
The sugar industry is very important to all of us. As we know, it is the backbone of our economy and provides employment to thousands of people.
The sugar industry recently went through a difficult time with two recent cyclones and a flooding, but the Fiji Sugar Corporation has managed to pull through and start the crushing season, the first of the three mills to do so.
We didn't allow the devastation forced upon us by post-tropical cyclones Yasa and Ana, including COVID-19 restrictions, to hamper our spirits and efforts.
Commissioner Northern Urere Nima has urged sugar industry stakeholders to work together to make this season a success despite the COVID-19 crisis.
Many are working hard to get the mill running. Some of our very own local people trying to stop it, and they do so for their own personal reasons. This is a sickness that I believe that we must all try to wipe out together from our society.
FBC News understands the Sugar Tribunal initially set crushing in Lambasa to begin on July 27th. This was later pushed forward to July 7th. 2 weeks ago, it was again moved up to June 16. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
All schools nationwide will remain closed until further notice following discussions with the Ministry of Health and Medical Services. The Ministry of Education is urging all parents to keep their children safe at home and restrict any unnecessary movements as there's still COVID-19 active cases. The ministry says it will continue to make available a number of supplementary learning resources during this extended break to keep the children engaged. Further announcements will be made by the ministry in due course.
Welcome back. More than 30% of people in Fiji rely on second-hand clothes, and the closure of stores means there is nowhere to shop. One of the leading used clothing outlets, Value City, is now switching to online sales via M-Pesa and internet banking. Sweta Vandana with the details.
Due to customer demand, Value City is preparing to make sales online for its superstore, while branches outside containment zones are fully operational.
Within the containment zone, we have allowed, we will allow on the phone bookings for things that customers may ask for and that we can provide. However, it has to be prepaid, no cash transactions, and collected at the store at an agreed time.
Chute says they have received requests from families and expectant mothers who need warm clothes for their babies. Meanwhile, rival business Bargain Box has switched to online sales for its No Sorry shop.
We have just implemented online sales for variety items, which we are servicing in our Nasuri shop only at the moment. On-call services are there. People call up and they ask for the items, and then they come and collect it in front of the shop. But the other branches in Suva, even though we are getting a lot of queries, our branches are upstairs, so it's a bit difficult to manage, and we haven't opened those yet.
These are the only latest in a string of businesses that have gone digital under the new normal, waiting for shops to reopen. Shweta Vandana, FBC News.
Many local music artists and vendors of the rock market are facing financial constraints due to the hardships caused by the pandemic. However, a GoFundMe platform has been set up to assist these Fijians to help sustain their livelihoods in these trying times. Rock market organizer Elena Kalunisinga says livelihoods have been affected due to a decline in sales with the restrictions put in place. She says the platform aims to raise funds and assist families with grocery packs.
Our goal is to raise enough funds to be able to deliver the staple grocery packs to those that are currently on zero income.
Here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. The Fiji dollar made good ground against the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, as well the euro. Commodities market, crude oil dropped to $71.58 a barrel. Gold dropped further to close at $1,819 per ounce, and silver was down again at $27.17 per ounce. And Sinifa joins us now with the latest from the money market.
Good evening. The economic calendar was packed with key events today. In the morning's announcement, New Zealand GDP rose 1.6% in first quarter of this year. Compared to the March 2020 quarter, GDP in the March 2021 quarter was up 2.4%. Services industries, representing around 2/3 of New Zealand's economy, made the biggest contribution to the March 2021 result. In Australia, job creation blew past expectations in May as unemployment dived to pre-pandemic lows. This was a major upside surprise that will test policymakers' commitment to keeping rates at historic lows for another 2 years or more. Their unemployment dropped to 5.1% in May. In his speech this morning, the Reserve Bank of Australia governor sounded cautious over tapering and rate hikes. He mentioned that the Aussie economy is still in the recovery phase. Meanwhile, the U.S. Federal Reserve kept its benchmark interest rate unchanged today. However, the U.S. Fed surprised traders by signaling it might raise interest rates at a much faster pace than assumed. In their summary of economic projections, the central bank now expects real GDP to grow 7% in 2021, with inflation running to 3.4% and unemployment rate to fall to 4.5% in 2021. That's all from HFC Bank, Vinaka.
The Ministry of Economy yesterday reached out with 337 groceries and essential item packs to families in home isolation and those in lockdown areas. This includes 16 packs to the 3 villages in Naitahasiri that are under lockdown, which are Vunisinga, Laselebu and Matainasau. 19 packs were supplied to the mobile team and Vunindawa Hospital in Naitahasiri. The ministry also delivered 27 packs to the Lami Command Center, while 275 food and essential items was delivered to those under home isolation. This includes households between the Lami-Nausuri containment border. To date, the ministry has distributed 5,880 packs to Fijians in targeted lockdown areas and home isolation. In total, the government has provided 35,380 food ration, grocery and essential item packs. That is the latest from my end, but coming up after the break, no dream too big, says taxi driver. Stay with us.
Welcome back. No dream is too big and no challenge is too great, and this has been the driving force behind the success of the Regent Taxi Pte Limited's managing director. Born and raised in Wangele, Lambasa, Harish Chandra has taken up various positions in different companies before making the move to buy Regent Taxi in 2013. Koretandulala reports.
Harish Chandra joined Regent Taxi as an operational manager in 2009 before making the major move in 2013.
I spent 4 years under the previous management. In September 2013, I decided to buy the business. And from there, all the success started for me from there.
Chandra over the years have been investing in his employees as he believes they are his asset.
We ventured into replacing all the gas cars with the Toyota Fielder vehicles for the comfort of the drivers, so they can do their income as well as they can pay their income to the company as well.
Despite the pandemic, the company continues to look after its workers to ensure they are able to provide for their family.
And we engage about 46 to 50 drivers because of rotational shift. We had a meeting with them and we come to a conclusion that we'll reduce the income to what they can cope with.
The managing director says they are planning to further expand their taxi family and recruit new drivers after the COVID-19 pandemic. Koretandulala, FBC News.
Being Helping Hands Fiji, a non-governmental organization, has adopted a family and is assisting them every fortnight with groceries. 64-year-old Parbawati of Robandrao, Navua, had been finding it difficult to look after her 3 nieces who have intellectual disabilities. Wati has been looking after them for the past 5 years. Kritika Kumar reports.
Several sponsors are working with the NGO to assist this family and to cater to their needs.
Actually, I came to know about this family from one of my family friends, Susan. Like, she told me about this family, and then me and my team, being Helping Hand Fiji, we decided to aid this family.
Prabhavati says she has been facing challenges as she is not well versed on how to provide proper care for persons with intellectual disabilities.
I have been facing difficulties, even I am not married. I don't know how to care for them. They at times fight and I don't know how to control them.
71-year-old grandmother Nirmala Devi says the 3 are over the age of 30 and have medical needs.
At times, there are a lot of challenges. They have to go for checking on a regular basis, and we at times find it difficult.
Being Helping Hands Fiji has so far assisted more than 100 people with groceries. The NGO has also assisted 30 families who are currently in the lockdown areas in Nawakanandi. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Investing in land restoration creates jobs and generates economic benefits that sustain livelihoods at a time when hundreds of millions of jobs have been lost. Minister for Agriculture Dr. Mahendra Reddy highlighted this as Fiji and the world commemorates World Desertification and Drought Day. Dr. Reddy says this year's theme highlights that land restoration will contribute greatly to post-COVID-19 economic recovery. He says today, land use change is the primary driver for emerging infectious diseases, and the rate of land use conversion is accelerating. Dr. Reddy adds that the foundation for building back better in the face of climate change and the wake of COVID-19 pandemic will be centered upon future land use decisions. And now for sports, we join Jamie.
Thank you and good evening. Ahead in sports. Vaccination compulsory for local footballers. No jab, no play. The Fiji Football Association has made its stand clear on vaccination. Fiji Football Association President Rajesh Patel says they want to play their part in safeguarding the nation from COVID-19, and vaccination will be compulsory for players to return to competition. Meanwhile, the Fiji Rugby Union, on the other hand, will not be making a stand on vaccinations just yet. Aquila Dama with the story.
Vaccination is a must for players if they want to compete in Fiji FA sanctioned competitions, and according to Rajesh Patel, it's under FIFA regulations as well.
We have to make sure that the public, when they come in to watch the game, the other players, we have to protect them too. It's their life too. It is not an individual life on his own accord when they don't want to get vaccinated. Every kid is vaccinated at a young age. Every kid was vaccinated for polio. That's how we eradicated polio, measles and everything. So what is different now? I don't understand.
When questioned that government has said vaccination is not compulsory, Patel says they understand, but they have to keep everyone involved safe. One of the association that arranged for players to get their first jab last weekend was MBA.
It's a responsibility to get everyone vaccinated, and the government has been pushing for it that the sooner you get vaccinated, the sooner everything can go back to normal. And now also Fiji football has stated that no jab, no play. So
While Fiji FA has made its decision on vaccination known, the FRU is keeping their options open at the moment.
Vaccination is a right of individuals. We will have to, once we have received the guidelines and things, also consider that in our strategies as we move forward to preparing for kickoff when the time comes.
O'Connor says they'll have to wait for the Fiji Sports Commission's return to play protocols before making any final decision. Aquila Dhama, FBC Sports.
Italy has qualified for the knockout stage of Euro 2020 after a 3-0 victory over Switzerland today. It was back-to-back wins for the Azzurri after thumping Turkey last week by the same scoreline. Finland will have to wait a little longer for a chance to secure a place in the last 16 at Euro 2020. This after the side were beaten 1-0 by Russia. Finland now has a win and 1 loss from 2 games and will need to get either a draw or a win over Belgium in the last group match next week to stand a chance of progressing. Wales football captain Gareth Bale went from hero to villain, then back to hero again as he guided his side to a 2-0 win against Turkey in their Euro match today. The Welsh star missed the penalty but was instrumental in both goals as the side qualified for the second round. This consistency will be key for the Kaiviti Silktails heading into the next round of the Iran Massey Cup against table leaders St. Mary's. Although they lost 56-6 to St. Mary's 2 months ago, the Silktails are determined to make amends on Saturday. While effective training and Olympic preparation during the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in Fiji has been near impossible, Team Fiji athletes have been commended for their willingness to keep on. Fiji Association of Sports and National Olympic Committee Chief Executive Lorraine Ma commended the athletes who have had to overcome many challenges to attempt qualification for the Tokyo Games. Ma says that as the competition date draws nearer, the remaining athletes are determined to make the final Team Fiji squad.
I really take my hat off to these athletes who, maintained their focus right throughout all this time. And I just wish them all the best in this last qualification period.
That's it from sports this evening, but up ahead a touching tale about an amazing toddler who has overcome the odds stacked up against him. Stay with us for this and more.
Welcome to our daily weather outlook. It has been cold nights and we expect that to continue, so get those blankets ready. This as a weak trough of low pressure remains slow moving over the eastern parts of Fiji. Associated cloud and showers to affect the northern and eastern parts of the group till later tonight. Now to the west. It was shower free and overall the day was calm. There is a shower system moving in, but it's very unlikely for the westerners for the night. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva was cool feeling and most have jackets on. The night will be cooler again. Moving further to the north, usual weather prevailed. The places we will be checking out is Nosori, Tavua and Savu Savu. Nosori was at 28 degrees but it felt like 31 and humidity was at 82%. The other two were in the 70s on the humidity scale. Billy here felt a bit gooey today. At sea we will have moderate to rough seas. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 12:12 a.m. tomorrow and low tide is at 6:14 a.m. Sunrise at 6:36. For tomorrow, cloudy with some showers over Vanuatu, Taviuni, Lau and Lomaiviti Kandavu, the interior and eastern parts of Viti Levu. Isolated thunderstorms possible, elsewhere fine apart from isolated afternoon showers. And looking further on to Saturday, we will continue to have cool nights. This was captured by our boss man, meaning our CEO at the Suva Point this morning. Such a beautiful sight of our Fiji. Remember to send us pictures, send it with a small description to our FBC News Facebook page. That's all from the Weather World. It's back to Atada.
Thanks, Kritika. In Fijian Pulse, we ask, with the rising number of COVID-19 cases, are you still reluctant to take the jab?
I believe that people should take the jab. It's not painful and it can help during this pandemic.
Please, come, take the jab. Don't listen to all those false rumors. This is your life.
I think the people shouldn't be afraid of taking the jab because it saves life.
Put the mask when you're going in the public area, right? Use hand sanitizer and just basically follow the rules that the government is just informing. And secondly, I would like to just to tell the public is to just to get vaccinated.
Recapping our main stories, COVID cases continue to increase. SOS sounded for medical students, and Italy is the first team into the next round of the Euros. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we're asking, do you prefer online shopping during this pandemic? Send us newsworthy pictures and videos by email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts. You can also download our FBC app to keep updated with the very latest news and sports, and also listen to our 6 radio stations live. That's your news for tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow for the Mantha.